Hello my friend, today we're gonna make a frickin' hard stamped record style bass house drop similar to Julian Jordan and Blue Air in FL Studio 20. Let's start by making some really tight drums and effects. The drum beat is perhaps the most important part of this drop since a lot of the power and groove comes from the percussion and stabs. We're gonna start with a tight kick and clap. Now let's add some percussion sounds to create the groove and rhythm of the drop. In a stamped record style drop like this, it's really important to make a really groovy rhythm. If we make a solid rhythm with the percussion, it will be very easy to add a bass and lead on top. That's kind of a nice rhythm actually. Now my friends, let's add a couple white noise samples which add quite a bit more energy to the drop. And after that we're gonna add some hard hitting stabs. As you can hear, I added a reverb on the stabs and controlled it with this reverb automation. To spice up the drop a bit, let's add a few ear candy effects. And lastly we're gonna add a really distorted hi-hat for the second half of the drop. Now that we have a decent drum pattern, let's make a freaking distorted and hard bass line. But first, I would truly appreciate it if you subscribed and turned on post notifications. We'll start off with this serum layer playing the bass line. I only used 2 layers for the bass line. This bass house serum preset from my new ADM sample pack. And this sub bass preset. Now guys, let's add some mixing effects to make the bass punch harder. Our goal when mixing the bass in a Julian Jordan and Blue Air style bass house drop like this is to make it more powerful and distorted, but not harsh. We want it to sound crisp and clean as well. We'll begin by mixing the main bass layer. First we'll add a fruity stereo shaper to make the bass wider in the mix. Then we'll add a couple EQs to clean up the highs a bit. Then a camel crusher to add some distortion and compression. Another EQ really tampering down the harsh high frequencies. Some OTT. And a final EQ to add some finishing touches. This my friends is what the main bass layer sounds like without the mixing. And this is with. Now guys, let's quickly push the sub bass layer to its limits. We'll take it from this to this. To achieve that we're gonna add distortion, OTT, soundgidizer, and an EQ removing all the highs. This is what the full bass sounds like. To spice up the bass a bit we're gonna add these growl synth shots slang on some of the notes in the bass line. This is what we have so far guys. Now guys and gals, let's make a powerful and clean lead. We're gonna begin by finding a nice pluck synth shot. Then we're gonna add a very short reverb on it with a short decay time. I use this reverb which is a free reverb plugin, but you can of course use fruity reverb if you want. Then we're gonna make a nice bouncy melody. I changed the mode on the pluck sample to bleeding out, which adds this short decay on the sample. Now that we have a nice lead idea, we're gonna add some mixing effects to make it really hit hard. We'll start by adding quite a bit of compression using OTT, then a couple of EQs to make the lead clearer, compression and distortion using camel crusher, EQ, a soundgidizer to add more power, and lastly a few more EQs to really clean up the lead. This my friends is what the lead sounds like without the mixing. And this is with. We're also gonna add this long reverb and control it using this reverb automation. We're gonna copy the lead and pitch it down for the second half. Let's also add a couple more synth shots playing the lead melody to fill out the lead a bit more. To make the lead hit a bit harder, we're gonna add some percussion sounds and add them to the same mixer track as the lead. And we're also gonna add this reverse lead shot. Then we're gonna add this volume automation for the reverse lead shot, and we're gonna turn on LFO, and we're gonna use these settings on the knobs. And lastly, we're gonna add a sidechain on the lead to make it fit with the bass and drums. Finally, I was done with the drop, guys. Before I show you the full drop, I would truly appreciate it if you checked out my new ADM sample pack called Adrian Benson's Essentials. Link is in the description. If you get the pack, you'll get 6 FLPs, 280 samples, and 150 serum presets, all made for future house, bass house, slap house, and deep house. If you liked the video, please be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Love you guys.